All right, a pleasant Thursday afternoon, everybody. I'm Kevin La Peña, and it is my pleasure to guide you through this afternoon's program. So, with that being said, welcome to Meralco Power Up Live, a series of webinars designed to engage Meralco's customers and share timely and relevant information and updates that can help businesses to operate efficiently. And speaking of efficient operations, we understand that productivity may be compromised as a result of rising temperatures brought about by the summer heat. And now that summer is upon us, we expect to use our cooling systems longer and at lower temperatures, so the compressors work harder, resulting to higher power consumption. Fact, electricity bills of businesses usually increase up to 26% during the summer season. Now that we're at alert level 1, most businesses have already resumed full operations, which means electricity consumption will go up as well. Add the summer heat and the rising fuel prices to the equation, and you know that means bigger operating spend for your business. The high power demand may also result to power shortage and brownouts this summer. Now, this is the reason why we gathered all of you here today, to give you the power to manage your consumption this summer. So we have invited experts from the Department of Energy to talk about Luzon's power supply outlook, and Spectrum as well to talk about solar power too. And we will also cover energy efficiency measures care of Meralco. So that's something definitely to look forward to. But before we proceed with what we have in store for you for today's program, let's jumpstart this event by checking how you use electricity this summer. And I guess the best way to do this is to get a feel of the room via the Menti meter. All right, so with that, may I please invite everybody to visit menti.com and type the code that you see right now on your screens. You may also scan the QR code, which you can see right now, or the link, or click the link sent into the chat box to join. So right now, so far, I can already see a number of people starting to join us. And as soon as you're in, all you need to do is answer our question, all right? So if you guys are ready, here we go with our Menti meter question. So, among your appliances and equipment, which one do you think contributes the most to your consumption this summer? All right, you can read it on screen if you didn't catch it the first time. A lot of people, or in fact, almost everybody saying it's their air conditioning unit. To be fair, aircon naman talaga yung pinakamagastos, especially during the summer. And as I mentioned earlier, painit na ng painit ngayon, and it goes without saying that we're going to be using more of our air conditioning units. All right, so thank you everybody for sending in your answers. Looks like unanimously aircon nga ang pinakamadami. And actually, based on the test by the Meralco Power Lab, cooling systems contribute up to 70% to your monthly consumption. So tama nga naman din talaga from what we've seen in the Menti meter. Depending on your industry as well, yung consumption na ito. And you're going to be able to find out more about that in our presentations later on in the program. So before we get to that, at this point, I would like to remind everybody to please settle into a nice spot where your internet signal is strong, because we wouldn't want you to miss out on our lectures, interesting discussions, and fun games later on in the program. We are broadcasting in HD quality, so you can be assured of crisp and clear sounds and visuals. So, with that, ladies and gentlemen, to formally welcome all of us to today's Power Up Live webinar, let's call on the Assistant Vice President and Head of the Meralco Biz Partners Group. Everybody, please do join me in giving a warm welcome for the lovely Miss Joy Mendoza.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kevin, and it's nice to see you again. Good afternoon, and I hope that everyone is safe and having a great day so far. Please allow me to welcome you all and, of course, acknowledge the presence of our esteemed guests, Department of Energy's Director Mario Marasigan, and Spectrum's Head of Commercial Services, Mr. Jay Ling. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us today. Today's Partners Group of Meralco is a dedicated segment providing end-to-end energy services and solutions to our small and medium enterprises. We are glad that most businesses have resumed operations just like your businesses, which can actually increase the consumption during this summertime. And speaking of summer, electricity consumption of businesses like yours are likely to increase up to 26% this season. The top contributor being is the rising consumption from your cooling equipment, as mentioned earlier, mostly from the air conditioning unit. Because of the heat, we tend to use our cooling equipment at lower thermostat settings or higher fan speed, and even for longer hours too. Not to mention still the rising fuel cost, which will definitely result to higher bills this summer. And these are practically the reasons why we bring today this webinar. We will be sharing with you the power supply forecast through DOE, energy efficiency measures that can help you manage electricity consumption, and an alternative and sustainable power source by way of solar power. Again, thank you so much for finding time and joining us today in this webinar. And I hope today's session will be very productive and relevant for you. I look forward to seeing you in our succeeding webinars. Magandang hapon and stay safe, everyone.
Thank you very much, Ms. Joy. Magandang hapon din po sa inyo. Always a pleasure getting to hear from you to kick off all of our Meralco events. Now, as you heard from Ms. Joy earlier, she reiterated that cooling systems really take up most of the bills, especially during the summer. Kaya Ms. Joy, sorry, medyo natauhan ako. Off ko na kaya muna yung aircon ko in the room. All right, so now to move on, before we introduce our next speakers, please be informed that if you have any comments or any questions on any of the presentations, please go ahead and type them into the Q&A tab so that we can gather them for our question and answer portion later on. And among other things, we value your privacy very much. So for account-related concerns, you can send your message through the link in the chat box. All right, so now, with that out of the way, our first speaker has almost 40 years of government service. He heads the Electric Power Industry Management Bureau, or EPIMB, an agency under the Department of Energy, or DOE. He will be sharing with us an overview of the 2022 Luzon power supply and demand outlook. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Director Mario C. Marasigan.
Thank you very much, Kevin, and good afternoon to all. So I am here to do the presentation and with regards to the power situation in the country. So just to provide you a brief overview of my presentation for this afternoon, this will include the power situation in the Philippines, of course with focus in Luzon. This will be followed by the Luzon power outlook for this year, and then what are the various updates on renewable energy and energy efficiency. By the way, I wish to express my full gratitude to Meralco for the invitation to the Department of Energy on this. Kasi we need to really inform the public, especially at this summer period. Maraming nangangamba kung tayo ba ay may sapat na kuryente o wala. So, to proceed with my presentation, I will start with the Philippine power situation. And as I mentioned earlier, meron naman tayong sapat na supply ng kuryente. And as you would see in this slide, we have here a total growth rate of about 4.9% for the entire Philippines in terms of energy consumption. In fact, this peak demands is already nearing yung yung demand din natin for this year. So dahil continuous yung ating paglaki ng ating demand, in fact, for Luzon alone, we are already hitting the 12,000 megawatt target for this year. Although, for the recent times, hindi pa naman natin na-reach yung 12,387 na projection namin this year. We have already received yung mga reports natin from our stakeholders that really picking for summer season is really happening. But to aid that, we have also to present to you that we have ample supply naman of electricity. In fact, on this slide, you would see that we have a growth of about 1,250 megawatts for this year, no? Emanating from the total capacity that we had in 2020, moving into the 2021, and that builds up to about 35,000 megawatts of available capacity in the Philippines. And of course, makikita mo naman in our graph, no, in this slide, that meron tayong magandang profile when it comes to our energy supply, because we are not relying on one source. We have sources coming from coal, from oil thermal, and most especially, we have our own natural gas at the moment, and also renewable energy generation. And we are actually pushing for more renewable energy and other indigenous resources to really address yung security ng ating bansa. Like for example, what is happening now, no? Nagkaroon ng hindi magandang sitwasyon sa Russia and Ukraine, and yet, Philippines being as consumer, tayo yung unang naaapektuhan pagdating sa energy na kailangan natin. Sa magandang sitwasyon nga lang, hindi pa tayo apektado sa kuryente dahil ang first impact po ng ating mga fuel price increases rest on our liquid fuels. So, kaya hindi pa tayo masyadong apektado pagdating po sa ating mga pagtaas ng presyo, particularly on the energy. Now, next on my presentation would be, ano na ang sitwasyon talaga ng Luzon ngayon? Magkakaroon ba ng brownout? Kasi for the past few years, palagi natin sinasabing we have the assurance na walang brownout, and then suddenly, meron plantang babagsak at magkakaroon tayo ng mga red alerts, yellow alerts, and then at times, this may lead to brownouts. So this is our approved grid operating and maintenance program. Just to explain first this graph, yung bars po na nakikita ninyo is not the actual capacity on the grid. The base po niya, yung baling axis zero natin, represents yung kung saan nag-meet ang ating supply at saka ang ating demand. Kaya ang nire-represent po ng ating graph na ito ay yung kung ano ang available na reserve, particularly in Luzon grid. So, nag-focus po tayo sa Luzon grid. At mapapansin niyo po rito, meron pong tatlong linya. Yung pinakamababa, the red line, and then followed by the yellow line and the blue line. So, what does that mean? Yung pong red line natin, ay ibig sabihin yan, kapag ka ang ating reserve ay bumaba sa linya na yan, sa red, dyan po tayo magkakaroon ng red alert. Kung bumaba naman po siya sa yellow, ibig sabihin yan, magkakaroon tayo ng yellow alert. But all the rest, ibig sabihin lang po, yung ating other requirements pagdating sa reserve, kung meron pong magkaroon tayo natagalang outages sa isang planta, then ano po yung sosobra sa yellow, yung po yung available reserve natin to come in and provide for the necessary outages na nangyari. So what's happening po for this year? Ano yung projection natin? Ano yung in-approve? Yung pong ating grid operating and maintenance program includes the plans and programs of the different generating facilities kung kailan yung schedule at gaano katagal ang kanilang mga preventive maintenance na ginagawa annually. At the same time, kaya po pinagsama namin yung operating and maintenance program, kasali po dyan yung maintenance naman ng ating transmission system. Because, as you know, naaapektahan din po ng degradation ang ating mga transmission facilities. Unang-una po dyan, nagkakaroon po ng epekto kapag tayo po ay mayroong malalagong mga vegetation, mga puno na mahapay sa mga linya ng kuryente, yan po ay nagkakos din ng pagtitrip ng ating linya kung saan po nakaka-apekto din ang ating mga planta ng kuryente para bumigay. So, nakikita po natin sa ngayon, ang projection po natin, wala naman po tayong nakikitang yellow or red alerts. Kahit po ang target natin, ang projected peak demand natin ay mangyayari sometime po dito and during the summer season at a peak value of about 12,387 megawatts. Pero reflect ko rin namin dito sa group na to, kailan ba yung election period at kailan yung summer period. So, i-highlight po namin yan by slightly shading it with yellow para makita nyo yung week kung kailan yung ating election, the week before and after that, and for the entire summer season. And with the coming in of of a big power capacity, the beginning, GM Power beginning Unit 2, yung po kanya expected commercial operation natin is by April. So nakikita po natin na may sufficiente tayo sa lahat ng pangangailangan nating reserves. However, alam naman po natin na year in, year out, palagi tayo nagkakaproblema na mayroong bumabagsak na planta. Nagkakaroon tayo ng problema dahil mayroong linyong nasira. In fact, on alert din kami, nagmo-monitor kami ngayon kasi pumuputok ang bulkantaan. So, meron bang apekto rin ang pagputok ng bulkantaan? Meron ba tayong mga linya na kuryente na pwedeng matabunan ng mga abo? At nakaka-apekto ba yun? So, lahat po yun ay binabantayan natin. Pero sa projections po natin, hindi mawawala yung plantang bumibigay kasi mainit ang panahon, mas mataas ang ginagamit na, mas marami tayong ginagamit na kuryente, kung saan malaki ang posibilidad na bumigay ang mga planta natin dahil parang overuse. Kung baga sa sasakyan, nakatodo tayo, hindi tayo naka-cruising speed, palagi naka-primera, binibigay natin lahat ng capacity na kaya natin. So, sa mga simulations po na ginagawa, sa continuous simulation na ginagawa po ng Department of Energy, sa tulong na rin ng ating system operator, pati po ng ating market operator, tayo po ay nagkakaroon ng iba't ibang senaryo. At isa po sa senaryo na nais ko ipatid sa inyo is, what if ano-ano yung mga outages natin for the last 4 years at kunin natin ang average doon on a daily basis at i-project natin dun sa ating grid and operating and maintenance program. Ano ang pwedeng mangyari? So, magkakaroon ba alert? At pag simulations. Next slide, please. The clicker doesn't work. Okay. So, kung lumabas sa simulations time, kung saan po yung ating average daily outages po ng nakaraang 4 years ay isinama natin doon sa ating approved grid and grid operating and maintenance program. Yung pong ating dust line na kulay black, ang siya po nagre-represent na kung ano yung average na pwedeng mawala sa bawat linggo as projected po on a daily outage for the last 4 years. At dito po makikita natin na, oops, 2 weeks before and 2 weeks after during this election, during the summer season, meron tayong projected at nakikita ng yellow alerts. So, dapat po ba tayong mangamba? Ang una po namin advisory dyan is, again, yellow alert doesn't mean brownouts. Ang ibig lang po sabihin yan, kinakapos tayo sa reserva. So, kailangan paghandaan natin na dapat lahat ng planta, ang kanilang available capacity ay dapat tumakbo para maiwasan ang sitwasyon na ito. At dahil po rito, kailangan na rin na sa tulong ng lahat ng stakeholders natin ay magawa ng paraan. Kailangan mawala or magkaroon tayo ng contingency measures on how to address this. And of course, we have already identified some of those that may address this concern. Number 1, yung pong commercial operation ng GM Power beginning 2, instead of having it in April, mamumove po siya by June or July. Pero, during this period, actually, nag-start na po sila, magko-conduct po sila ng testing and commissioning ng kanilang power facilities. So that means that is a more than 600 megawatts of available capacity na pwedeng patakbuhin on the testing and commissioning mode para lang maging available siya at the times na kailangan natin. Second, meron po tayong pinapayagan na magkaroon ng preventive maintenance schedules during the summer period. At iyan po ay ang ating mga hydropower plants. Kasi, siyempre alam natin that during summer, kokonti ang naipon natin tubig, naghihintay pa tayo ng tag-ulan. So, mas malaki ang posibilidad na pwede silang mag-maintain. Ang ginawa po natin, kinausap po natin ang mga planta ng hydropower plant, na mga may-ari ng hydropower plants kung saan pwede nating iusog or palitan natin ang kanilang schedule ng preventive maintenance. And last, we got the approval or in consideration po ng 2 of our hydropower facilities to make their capacities available if this situation happens. And last but not the least, among our contingencies na nakikita ay yung pong pag-transfer ng electricity supply coming from Visayas using our high voltage direct current interconnection between Samar and Bicol. Normally po, ang transfer ng kuryente from Visayas to Mindanao is on the capacity of about 100 to 150. But what if we can harness up to 300 megawatts along this line? So yun po yung tinitingnan natin. So kung may mawala mo po tayo on the average about 500 megawatts during this yellow alerts period, more than 1,000 megawatts po ang pwedeng available. That means we can amply address the potential concerns kung sakali na yung ating average outages ay mangyari during this summer season, particularly sa election period natin. So ano po ang sinasabi natin? Walang makakapagsabi kung kailan mangyayari ang outages ng mga planta, kundi ang mga operators din at the time na minimaintain nila. So maaasa po kami sa full coordination ng lahat ng stakeholders natin sa power industry na gagawin nila lahat. At daayon po sa advisory na ini-issue ng ating pamahalaan through the Department of Energy, we should make all the available capacities na ready to generate power at times po na kailangan natin, especially during outages po ng ibang planta. Now, let me move on to the outlook po naman natin with regards to renewable energy and energy efficiency. Ano po ba yung mga ginagawa nating mga insentiba or mga projects or programs para mo maipush natin ang mas maraming renewable energy? So among the line po, ang isang tinitingnan natin is yung pong ating renewable portfolio standard kung saan ang lahat ng distribution utilities at electricity suppliers are mandated to have at least 1% of their supply to their consumers ay coming from renewable energy. So, dahil po rito, kailangan nating i-augment at i-facilitate yung available capacity in achieving this mandate. So, ang ginawa po ng Department of Energy, nagawa po tayo ng tinatawag natin Green Energy Auction Program. So, sa halip po na ang distribution utilities ay sila pa ang magko-conduct ng competitive selection process para makakomply sila sa kanilang renewable portfolio standard mandate, ang ginawa po ng Department of Energy is ang gobyerno na ang magko-conduct ng competitive selection process kung saan ang ating mga distribution utilities will just merely pick up based on their choices kung gusto nila yung napili ng gobyerno dahil sa kinundak nitong competitive selection process. At the moment po, we are already at the final stages for this preparation. We will conduct a few public consultation po with regards to the final methodology and how to achieve this while we are waiting for the reserve price that is being prepared po naman ng ating Energy Regulatory Commission. Aside po from the Green Energy Auction Program, we want to advise for everybody that an offshoot of the retail competition and open access on the renewable energy sector is the Green Energy Option Program. Kung doon po sa ating ARCOA, lalo na kayo, mga supplier, mga contestable customers na nandito ngayon sa ating activity today, meron kayong choice bumili direkta sa ating mga suppliers, no? Or even sa ating mga generating companies. So, ang level natin ngayon is still at 500 kilowatts. Pero kung doon po tayo papasok sa green energy option wherein renewable energy lang ang gagamitin natin, then we can already participate at a peak capacity of 100 kilowatts. Yan po ang nakalagay sa ating renewable energy law. Sa ngayon po, nakapag-launch na tayo niyan at meron na tayong mga langilan na nagpa-participate na pagdating dito sa Green Energy Option Program. In terms of renewable energy, in terms of energy efficiency and conservation naman po, we all know that we have passed a new law with regards to energy efficiency and conservation. And in pursuing po yung accelerated benefits natin from this law, nag-issue po ng various memorandum circular, department circular, and Department of Energy in coordination with other government agencies para po makapagbigay ng mas mabilis na implementation ng ating Energy Efficiency and Conservation Act. So, even po ang gobyerno ay binamandato natin na sila na muna kung saan ang pagpapractice po ng ating Energy Efficiency Program. Kung saan po, nasasaad, nagkaroon po tayo ng advisory, ini-issue po ng Department of Energy in coordination with other government agencies na asikasuhin, i-implement ang ating tinatawag na Government Energy Management Program. At mandated po kami to reduce our consumption ng electricity and other utilities to a minimum of 10%. At yan po naman ay meron din naman karapatang mga benepisyo ang mga employees natin o the government personnel po natin dahil whatever savings po na maa-attain natin yan, bumabalik po yan sa ating mga empleyado. So, part po ng ating energy efficiency is the implementation po naman ng ating tinatawag na net metering program kung saan po pwede po pag-manage natin on the demand side natin yung pong ating tinatawag na distributed energy kung saan part po ng energy efficiency and conservation yung pag-i-install ng sarili nating mga renewable energy within our premises. At isa nga po dyan ay yung pagtatayo na or paglalagay ng solar power energy natin sa ating mga bubong. However, ang isa po lang naming advice regarding that is we should maintain to be a net meter consumer and not a generator. Kung mas malaki po kaysa sa ating demand, ang ating po generate, hindi po intended ang ating net metering to sell electricity. Kung hindi, makatipid lang po tayo ng ating paggamit sa kuryente na binibili galing sa ating mga distribution utilities. Of course, in our efforts for net metering, we are actually thanking Meralco po kasi sila po yung pinakamaraming net metering participants pagdating po sa lahat ng distribution utilities natin sa bansa. So again, I wish everybody na nagkaroon po ng kaalaman pagdating po sa outlook ng ating hindi lang po doon sa ating supply ngayong summer, kundi pati ano yung mga insentiba o initiative ng ating government pagdating po sa renewable energy and energy efficiency. Maraming salamat po at mabuhay po kayong lahat.
Maraming salamat din po sa inyo, Director Marasigan, at mabuhay din po kayo. A virtual round of applause for Director Marasigan, everybody. Thank you very much. Okay, so by the way, for those of you who may want a copy of Director Marasigan's presentation, a recording of this webinar will be uploaded in the Meralco website. So don't worry, once the link is available, it's going to be shared to all our registered attendees. Alright? And also, if you have any comments or questions on the presentation, you can just go ahead and type them on our Q&A tab. And later on, we're going to be addressing them during our panel discussion. Alright? So meanwhile, it's time to break the ice just a little bit. We'd like to play a quick trivia challenge with all of you here this afternoon. So very simple with what we're going to be doing. We're just going to be asking a question based on Director Marasigan's presentation. And all you need to do is just type in your answer into the chat box. All right? And whoever gets to send in the correct answer ahead of everybody else will get to win a special prize. And I'm going to be announcing the winners later on in our program. All right? So let's see if you've taken down notes on Director Marasigan's presentation. So with that, everybody, please pay attention because here is our question. Director Marasigan gave 3 renewable energy and energy efficiency development updates. Give at least 1. So all you need to do is just give 1 out of the 3 renewable energy and energy efficiency development updates that you heard from Director Marasigan. So just go ahead and type your answers into the chat box now. Okay, so I'm going to give you a clue, all right? 2 of these have the word program in their names. The other one has act in it. All right? So we're just going to give you a little more time to type your answers in. Very nice to be able to see people starting to engage. And we will cut it at that. Thank you again, everybody who typed their answers in, and it's now time to reveal the correct answers. So, if you were able to answer one of these three that I'm going to be reading out, you got it right. Green Energy Auction Program, Green Energy Option Program, and Energy Efficiency and Conservation Act. All right, congratulations in advance to our winner. We will be announcing our official list of winners later on in the program. So if you didn't get it right this time, don't worry, we still have room for you to redeem yourselves and for you to give yourselves a chance to bring home a special prize. All right, thank you very much. And now, let's find out how you can manage your consumption, not just during the summer, but also all year round. And to share with us some practical energy efficiency measures, join me in welcoming Meralco Biz Partner Manager, Mr. Jobert Jimeno.
Thank you very much, Kevin. A blessed afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining today's Power Up session. Kamusta po kayo? Ramdam na po ba natin ang init ng summer? That's the main reason why we invited you to today's Power Up session. So what can you see on the screen is your bill ad for the month of March. So it shows that during summer, our consumption increases by up to 26%. Medyo malaki po, ano po? The summer heat makes our cooling equipment or appliances work harder. And we use it at a lower temperature and longer hours, which further drives up the consumption. In the succeeding slides, I will give you tips on how we can manage our consumption, not just this summer, but all year round. Because being energy efficient should not just be seasonal. It should be a way of life. For the overview of my presentation, I will be discussing first the different programs of Meralco pertaining to energy efficiency, then the basics of energy efficiency, the drivers and factors affecting our electricity consumption, and the most important part of this presentation are the different measures to attain energy efficiency. At the tail end of my presentation, we will be showing a case study of a business customer which conducted a cost-effective energy efficiency program to their business, and we will see what happened to them. I just want to begin by imparting that Meralco has energy efficiency programs in place that is aimed to educate and help all our customers make informed decisions and be intelligent energy users. The slide shows our very own Power Lab, launched in 2015. It is a two-level facility dedicated for research and testing of appliances and equipment, and basically all other energy-consuming devices to provide consumption information and energy efficiency pointers. Our Power Lab provides support to the different customer programs, and probably some of you are familiar with them, namely the Bright Ideas, Power Ideas, and the Meralco Orange Tab. The Bright Ideas provide energy efficiency education and solutions to our residential customers, while the Power Ideas are for our commercial and industrial customers. On the other hand, Meralco Orange Tag provides the cost to operate of appliances. Now, the first question would be, how do we make our home and business energy efficient? As likely, everyone will associate energy efficiency to cost savings. And it may seem complicated to some people and a bit of an effort, but really, it is simple. It is very, very simple. How? First, by using energy-efficient technologies. Opting for equipment with a lower power input, yet provides the same or better output. Examples are the LED lights with lower power wattage, but provides better lighting. Second, we must remember that energy is a function of time. So, control your usage. Our electricity consumption will be based on how long we are using our appliances. The longer we use them, the more we will consume. Examples are the escalators that automatically shuts off when unloaded, yet operates as needed. However, it is very important to know that energy efficiency is not just about savings. Energy efficiency means you optimize the use of energy without compromising, and take note of the next keywords: your comfort, convenience, and productivity. How? First is by deploying efficient technologies, and second is by employing best practices. Some of us may think that to be energy efficient, we must spend. But later on, we will find out that through best practices, we can still be energy efficient without spending a single centavo. And now, how we measure energy efficiency. So there are three parameters. First is if more product or services for the same energy input. Second, if same product or services for less energy input. And last, but the most ideal one is if we can produce more product or services for less energy input. So in order for us to make the necessary power consumption adjustments, we must identify first kung ano po ba yung mga top contributors na nakaka-apekto sa ating monthly energy consumption. So ano-ano po ba yung mga equipment po na yun or appliances? So cooling appliances such as air cons, fans, and refrigerators takes up to 57 to 72% of a typical residential customer. So more than half po ng ating consumption ay nanggagaling sa ating pong cooling appliances or equipment. So for the business customers, it varies depending on the industry and nature of business, especially for the commercial and industrial loads. Herewith are the top contributors for a typical restaurant. So 40 to 70% for the cooling appliances. For the reps, freezers, or chillers, we have 10 to 20%. 10 to 25% for the ovens, and 10 to 47% for the computers and printers, and 4 to 30% for the lighting. As we can see, both rate classifications, whether it is residential or commercial, have the same top contributor, and that is our cooling appliances or equipment. Now, we will move on to the space cooling or HVAC system. So we usually see them, these two types of space cooling system to the business customers. So first one is the centralized system. It is applicable for the large venues and spaces. So VEST are perfect for malls and arenas. But this type of cooling system require you to allocate a separate space for the chiller systems and then branch out the air vents towards the desired spaces. The RACs or the refrigeration and air conditioning is the most commonly used as it does not require a designated room for your chiller system, and we usually see them on small spaces, hotel rooms, and restaurants. So let me highlight some few factors affecting our cooling energy consumption. First is the room and building area. So it is important to know the appropriate sizing of our cooling equipment to ensure that we get the value for our money and attain the desired comfort level. So any capacity area mismatch results to 35 to 110% change in energy consumption for both oversized and undersized scenarios. Next would be the thermostat setting. So I think many of us are familiar na po dito. Ano po? So it is key to know the sweet spot for the temperature of your cooling equipment. So for chillers, we have 1.4% savings, and for the RACs, we have 5 to 7% savings for 1 degree setback. So to provide you an example, If you use your 1 horsepower air conditioning unit for 1 month or 5 days with a per day of 8 hours and maximum of 16 degree Celsius temperature, you will probably have a monthly bill of 800 pesos. But setting it back to 17 degrees C can result to a monthly savings of 50 to 60 pesos. So imagine, sa isang aircon pa lang po yan. What more kung marami po tayong aircon sa ating bahay or sa ating offices. Next would be the ambient temperature. So during summer months like now, our surroundings tend to be warmer. Hence, the ambient temperature for our rooms is also much higher in terms of heat. So we saw that there is a 11 to 23% increase per 1 degree increase in ambient temperature. So this results for our cooling equipment or appliances to work much harder to attain the desired room temperature. Next is the room or building insulation. So the less the insulation, the more heat penetration. Therefore, the more effort for our air conditioning unit to cool the specific room or area. And then we have the number of people and occupants or the heat load. So it is as simple as the more people, the more heat load. The more AC unit we need to cool a certain room or area. So we must remember that it is part of the computation of our space cooling equipment. So the expected number of occupants or for the desired room or area. And last but definitely not the least, we must ensure that the ACUs are working to their maximum capacity. So any dust or material present on the components of the equipment can hinder the equipment from attaining optimal results. So a 30 to 40% increase in energy consumption was seen for a poorly maintained unit or system. So medyo malaki po ito. So better na palagi po nating ma-check at well-maintained po ang ating mga air conditioning units or cooling system. So here are some tips on the thermostat settings that you may apply on your facility. So first, we must identify, sabi ko nga kanina, yung sweet spot. So the highest, most comfortable temperature level, which is ideally at 25 degrees C. So second, as mentioned earlier, there is a 5 to 7% savings for RACs and 1.4% savings for chiller systems in per 1 degree setback. So second, follow prescribed maintenance schedule. So it is best to incorporate space cooling equipment maintenance as part of our quarterly or semi-annual period overall building maintenance. So this is to avoid the 30 to 40% potential energy consumption because clogged air filters can cause airflow issues resulting to more energy consumption. So for the RACs, ano po yung dapat natin gawin? So we must regularly clean the air filters of our RACs. Medyo madali po siyang gawin. Ano po? But for the chiller systems, knowing the complexity of the connection, we have 3 expert maintenance service. What are those? First is to scope, plan, and schedule. Second would be the maintenance work. And then third is to check the gathered values, measuring output improvement. So we can see a direct comparison of 1 horsepower inverter ACU versus the ordinary or conventional 1 horsepower ACU. So all parameters from kilowatt hour down to the monthly bill that using inverter technology is proven to reduce our energy consumption. So we can generate a savings ranging from 20 to 66% as more frequent and longer usage. So ideally 4 hours or more for our inverter type ACUs to allow us to maximize its benefit. So the slide shows a simple computation or sample computation of a room size with the appropriate HP rating of the ACU. So this is, though it is best to consult your supplier or installer, the best fit for your space or room requirement. At the Meralco Power Lab, we tested the theory that using 1 horsepower ACU for 24 square meter room size, and so that the bigger space resulted to an additional 932 pesos increase in the same 1 horsepower ACU when used in an 18 square meter room size. Lastly, it would be best to be mindful of the ACUs that are left unused for a long time. So ano po yung mga pwede nating gawin? Ano po? First is to inspect the unit and be sure that there are no build-up or debris, especially in the motor. So second, check the last maintenance date. And then next, we should run the ACU in fan mode first to isolate the problems if there are any. And then we must remember that if our air conditioning unit had a problem before or it is not properly maintained, it may be worse after a long period of sitting unused. So now, here are some refrigerator and freezer tips. So same as the ACUs, ensure that there are no leaks or cracks on the refrigerator or freezer cabinet. So also, doors are to be properly closed. And one way of knowing that the seals of the ref or freezers is still okay is by trying to slide a piece of paper in between. So if it goes through, that means the gap is large enough for the cold air to get out. So second, it may be simple, but do not overload your ref. So optimal loading is usually 70% full only while maintaining a 1/4 inch gap for the cold air to properly circulate. So the inverter technology began with the ACU and has already made its way to the refrigerators and freezers. So in the slide, we can see the same principle applies. So a non-inverter 14 cubic feet commercial freezer tested against the conventional or an inverter freezer with the same volume and capacity, and it resulted to the latter being 79% less to use for a monthly savings of around 735 pesos a month. So medyo malaki po siya. So minsan dinidisregard natin, pero ang laki po ng magiging savings po natin kung makikita po natin or magagawa po natin itong simple tips po na ito. Now, here are some of the computer tips that may be underestimated yet proven with results over time. So, it is best to shut down your computer rather than leaving them on screensavers. So, a desktop or PC used for 16 hours a day in screensaver mode was compared to being shut down resulted to 184 peso savings per month. So imagine, dinidisregard natin madalas pero ang laki po pala ng savings. Ano po? Second is to consider switching from laser to inkjet printers. So we can generate a savings up to 97% due to the following reasons. First, inkjet printer user 0.21 centavos only per hour, while the laser printer is 4.66 pesos per hour. Medyo malaki po yung difference niya. So we are encouraging you na kung pwede natin i-consider yung pag-switch from laser to inkjet printers. And then, a brightness reduction or the use of energy saving mode, it can result to 67% of savings. Now, here are some tips on the computer or printers left unused for a long time. So, kung meron po tayo kanina sa air conditioning units, meron din po tayo dito sa ating computer. So, first is by simply covering it because it can avoid the dust or debris from getting inside the sensitive electronic components. Second, so yon, periodic maintenance or by simply cleaning the printers because dust can gather into the print heads, nozzle, and cartridges. So next is by updating our drivers to get the latest fixes on bugs. and then visually inspect the computer or printer, making sure that everything is in order before injecting electricity para ma-avoid po natin yung mga hazard kasi matagal po natin hindi nagamit yung ating computer or printers. So we proceed to the lighting tips. So ito po yung sinasabi natin kanina na we can be energy efficient without spending a single centavo. So as basic as it sounds, there is no better way to save power as turning off the lights when not in use. So napakasimple po. Wala po tayong kailangang gastusin at napakadali pong gawin. So for the new building owners, we encourage building owners to design their structure in such a way they will utilize the natural light coming from the sun. So second, by choosing the right kind of lighting, it can be optimal to our energy efficiency initiatives. There would be great utilization for the right size bulbs fit for the area or installation. And then taking advantage of the LED technology. So we have compared the 60-watt incandescent bulb with a 9-watt LED light, providing almost the same illumination for 10 hours of daily use. So we save a difference in consumption resulting to 57% savings from using the LED rather than the incandescent bulb. So what are the precautions for the light bulbs that are unused for a long time? So light bulbs or lamps that were unused for a long time which are found to not work anymore. So we may check for the potential issues such as loose connections, defective ballast, or drivers. So also we keep it clean so as dirt and dust can lessen the illumination by 50%. And then constant development on the technology, thus leveraging of smart technology for much efficient machines and devices. So better grasp of the energy consumption, monitoring, automation, and adaptation to real-time changes in the working spaces. So up next, we have the phantom load. Sino po sa inyo ang aware dito kung ano po ang phantom load? So phantom load is also known as vampire energy or standby power consumption. From the term itself, standby, the equipment is yet to be used but already using energy. So any equipment daw po or appliances or appliance drawing power without any output is to be considered as wasted energy source. So paano po natin mamamanage itong phantom load? First is by simply unplugging our appliances or equipment that are not in use, just like yung turning off the lights when not in use. So very free, napakadali po ng gawin. And then second is by using power strip with the single switch of a button, you can immediately turn off all the devices and equipment connected. So alam po ba natin na ang pag-unplug ng ating TV, sound system, PC, laptop will save us 237 pesos per month. Ito pong 237 pesos per month na wasted energy kung titingnan po natin ay pwede pong magpa-under ng ating 1 horsepower ACU for 8 hours, ng ating ref for 16 days, or ng isang 16-inch electric fan for 52 days. So napakasimple pero ang laki po ng epekto, lalo na po doon po sa savings po natin. So the slide shows the energy saving device. So we just want to give awareness that the energy saving device that you usually see online or in the shopping malls do not work. So even the DOE stands with this claim as they too know that ESDs or energy saving devices do not save you power. It rather adds up a value to your overall consumption given the small power consumption of its component. So it's a big no-no po. Wag po tayong maniwala or wag po tayong bumili po nito kasi may hazard din po ito sa ating safety. So I hope I was able to educate everyone on how to become energy efficient. And I have 5 takeaways that we must follow and become our mantra to attain overall energy efficiency. So first, energy is a controllable and measurable resource. Second, anything you can measure, you can manage. Third, we are energy efficient if we could do more with less. Fourth, some energy efficiency measures do not require costs. So ang dami po nating naibigay na sample po kanina. So and then last but definitely not the least, energy efficiency can be a way of life. So as I mentioned earlier, ito po yung sample business customer po namin na nag-conduct po ng energy efficiency measures sa kanilang mall. So this is a mall and they implemented 4 energy efficiency measures starting off with first the efficient operating procedure through their lighting. They reconfigured their electricity layout based on the specific scenarios. And then their escalators, they activated their escalators 30 minutes after the mall opening hours. And for these two, there are no costs rather than operational changes only. Then second, by using efficient technology. So they upgraded their existing chiller sensors, investing 50 plus thousand. And then third, the proper maintenance of the pump. So they rehabilitated the pumps and motors amounting to 200 plus thousand. And then fourth, they improved their building design and envelope, particular to the improvement of their thermal insulation, which cost them 800 plus thousand. So the total investment cost around 1.05 million pesos. Thus, the customer was able to save as much as 9.6 million per year. Wow! Imagine kung gaano po kalaking halaga yung natipid po nila through energy efficiency. So ito pong energy efficiency measure that they conducted resulted to the following. First, specific energy consumption or SEC, a reduction of over 10 kilowatt-hour per square meter. And then yun nga po, as I mentioned, savings of as much as 9.6 million per year in just 2 months of payback period. So grabe, ano po, ang ganda po ng naging epekto or ang laki ng nasave po nila from these energy efficiency measures. And with this, the mall has remained profitable and competitive while continuously offering customers a convenient shopping experience. So let Meralco-based partners power a brighter tomorrow for your business, just like what we did for these business owners you can see on your screen. So book a power consult via your Biz Partner Manager or through the channels flashed on your screen. Thank you very much and a blessed afternoon, everyone.
All right, Mr. Jobert Jimeno, everybody, another round of applause for Sir Jobert. Thank you very much for that presentation. Napaka-relevant din. I mean, I was really listening intently, especially since it will apply to everybody. And thank you for pointing one particular thing out. It settles the debate between a recent conversation I had between me and a family member, whereas dinedefend nila yung use ng incandescent light bulbs. Sinasabi ko, hindi. LED na dapat yung ginagamit natin ngayon. And it was surprising to see na 50, ano yun, sir, yung 50 plus % yung savings.
57 to 72%.
57, oh my goodness. Thank you again, Sir Jobert. All right, so again, a copy of Mr. Jimeno's presentation will be a part of this webinar's recording, and the link will be shared to our attendees as soon as it's made available. So please stay tuned for that. All right, and Mr. Jimeno also will be returning for our Q&A later on. So as I mentioned earlier, please do send in your questions through our Q&A tab, which you can find at the bottom part of the window. All right. Okay, so in the meantime, here is another trivia challenge, only this time based on Mr. Jimeno's presentation. Okay, so I hope you guys were listening as well, because all you need to do is just type in your answers into the chat box, and the first person to get it right will be our winner. Again, just to remind everybody, the official list of winners from our trivia games that we're going to be playing this afternoon will be announced towards the end of today's program. Okay, so if everybody's ready, please listen up, because here is our second question for the day. What do you call the electrical consumption caused by an appliance, equipment, or device that is turned off but still plugged? Okay? Go ahead and send your answers via the chat box. And again, the first one to get the correct answer will win a prize. All right? Okay, so we're gonna give a little more time for you guys to type in your answers. Even if makita na namin na meron ng winner, we just want to get a feel of how much of our audience knows what Mr. Jimeno was sharing earlier. All right, so we're gonna give you last 2 seconds. 3, 2, 1. We're gonna cut it off there. Thank you very much to everybody who typed in your answers. But then right now, it's time for us to reveal what the correct answer is. Phantom load. All right. So this is what you call the electrical consumption caused by an appliance that is turned off but still plugged. Phantom load is the correct answer. Again, congratulations in advance to our winner. We're going to be announcing the official list of winners later on in the program, so stay tuned for that. Okay, so now that's out of the way, we are now ready to call in our next speaker for this afternoon. And this person heads the Commercial Services Department of Spectrum. Ladies and gentlemen, another virtual round of applause for Mr. J. Lim.
Thank you for having me, Kevin. My name is Jay Lim, Head of Commercial Services of M Spectrum Inc. Good afternoon, everyone. Today I'll be discussing how solar rooftops can help your businesses. Without further ado, let me start with my presentation. We heard a lot of tips from Sir Gilbert earlier to make sure we achieve energy efficiency now that we are currently reaching pre-pandemic conditions. Those will definitely help businesses all over the Philippines increase their operational efficiencies. However, it is important to understand that with the recent happenings this summer, there are new challenges that these businesses will face. During summer, the sun stays out the longest, therefore, driving people to use cooling appliances longer, eventually increasing electricity consumption, not to mention with the imminent increase in oil and gas prices, which essentially changes the daily lives of some people. Okay. With these challenges, we find one opportunity for businesses, and that is solar. During the summer months, the sun is out the longest, and the harvest also of solar power is abundant during the summer season. Thus, it is the best time to have solar installations. Thank you also for the information relayed earlier by Director Marasigan. We usually experience red and yellow alert during summer months due to power shortage. So thank you to our solar power generating system. Solar plants helps mitigate this as we have additional source of power. More importantly, it decreases your electricity bills to your budget and that you can divert for any other various means. In my next slides, I'll be sharing with you our experience and the story of one of our loyal clients who took advantage of solar as they expanded through the years. Okay. This client was very much committed to sustainability. It was one of their major considerations as they grew. Our discussions in meetings ultimately led them to asking for these requirements. First, they wanted to contribute to preserving the earth by reducing their overall carbon footprint by year 2025. Fortunately, going solar is one of the best ways to reduce your carbon footprint as it reduces reliance to the grid that mostly uses fossil fuels. The next requirement, they wanted to optimize their solar installation. They wanted it not just to power the facility and their establishments, but also to benefit from the any excess energy it generates, so that nothing is wasted. Lastly, they wanted to cut down on their energy consumption, which operates mostly on daytime, eventually decreasing their electricity expenses. Okay. So with this three in mind, Spectrum implemented the most appropriate solutions for this customer. So for businesses, value engineering is what we do to ensure reliability and optimum performance of the system. We tailor fit our design based on our client's actual requirements. And we did not just design their system though, we provided an end-to-end and worry-free solution for procurement of materials, installation of system. We took care of all the legwork required, like permitting with LGU, and the net metering application with Meralco, we took care of everything, including the application of the required distribution impact study. We ensured that the project will be as hassle-free for our customers as possible. Of course, we do not just set up and get up. We also offered maintenance services to ensure that their PVC system continues to be safe, reliable, and long-lasting. Okay. During the state of our partnership, we faced some challenges, but we were ready to take them on. We had to work with the new net metering guidelines, which we had already prepared in advance, as we have integrated already the required integration of an REC meter requirement in our design and implementation. We also had to make sure that our solar installations upheld the compliance requirements and standards of the Philippine Electrical Code. We had to make sure that the establishments were also fit to carry the additional load from a solar installation for the safety of our client. This partnership has not yet ended. In fact, it continues to bloom year to year. But to put it simply, our client entrusted us to install multiple solar power generating systems of around 30 kilowatt peak capacity per site from the year 2017 to present, aggregated to around 40 plus facilities, of their facilities and counting. To briefly discuss, I want to highlight these end results with our partnership. Each establishment with solar installations are now currently enjoying a 20 to 30% reduction in their electricity bill as compared to the time when they didn't have solar. Finally, each sites were also able to reduce their carbon footprint by 28.8 tons per year. As we mentioned earlier, we want our clients to view this partnership as hassle-free as possible. That's why we handle all other challenges. Before any installation happened, we were quick to recommend any structural reinforcement that we saw that was needed to ensure safety. We also ensured that all establishments that would get solar installation is compliant with the necessary requirements and standards. We also handled their net metering applications, which allows the customer to export excess power energy generated to the grid, then in form of rebates, will be credited to their next electricity bill. Now, if you were to ask me, if it's easy to get a solar installation which can net you these benefits, I would say yes. In fact, there are so many solar providers out there that are willing to install solar for you. But if you want to guarantee savings, peace of mind, the after-sale support, and operational efficiencies, then I would be happy to show you with our services which are grounded in these three things we call the spectrum advantage. Okay. First, we have the finest energy experts for anything related to solar energy. As we are the subsidiary of Meralco, we share the same DNA. We know what's best for our customer. Second, we are known for our seamless grid integration because of our strong relationship with Meralco. We are very familiar with the processes and requirements like applications of net metering, the peak-of-peak program, and the distribution impact study. For every generating system that will be connected to the grid, we are actually required to apply the DIS with the DU to ensure safe interconnection of generating plant to the grid. And especially for larger systems that may cause eventual blackout or disturbance in the grid. So this is very important, so that protective equipment should be in place to avoid this potential power outages or disturbance in the grid. Third, and this is something that we are proud to share. This is our proven safety and track record over the years. One thing that has not changed is our prioritization of safety above all else, be it during the design of the solar system, during the implementation, or during the maintenance of the solar projects. Safety is always top of mind. These three things are always instilled in our products and solutions. It's what we believe sets us apart. With that, here are our spectrum solutions. We cater to everyone, be it a residential customer, a local government unit, businesses of all sizes, residential customers. We can tailor fit as safe and reliable solar solution for you. Solar for business. We provide end-to-end solar solution from engineering, procurement, construction of the solar panels to your business. A long-term investment that gives twofold results, savings and sustainability. Solar for home, an end-to-end solar solution as well. for your residents to future-proof your home and save on electricity. We have also implemented microgrid and utility scale projects. We design and build complex on-site energy system that can operate by supplementing utility grid in parallel mode or completely autonomously in island mode. We're also offering operations and maintenance service on the solar installation. We offer a comprehensive O&M package. The usual activities for this are regular panel cleaning, parts replacement, regular wiring check, performance monitoring, system audit, and mounting checks. We also offer our preventive maintenance service to everyone with solar installation, even those that were not installed by us. We always strive to make solar energy accessible for all. And lastly, Enphase distributorship. We also offer the latest technology in inverter, the microinverter with premium energy solutions. This has built-in rapid shutdown, longer product warranty compared to the usual string inverters, and has more intelligent management platform. But right now, we're implementing this with the residential and small commercial projects. Okay. Before I end my presentation, I would like you to know that one of Spectrum's main goal is to be your most trusted renewable energy service provider. Spectrum is a reliable partner for achieving our sustainability objectives, as well as we will help you save from power costs. We acknowledge that alone, we can do very little to achieve this, but through partnerships like this, we believe that all of us can help save the world. Okay, as I end my presentation, I would like to point you to our social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and our website for more details. Thank you for listening and good day.
Thank you very much, Mr. J. Lim. Palakpakan po ulit natin. Mr. J. Lim, thank you for that wonderful presentation. And it's very comforting to hear also na it's very, how do you say this, very forward in our way of thinking and approaching newer sources of energy, right? And it gives a sense of comfort as well that this that Spectrum also shares the same DNA and quality of service that Meralco offers. So once again, thank you very much, Mr. Lim, and thank you once again to all of our speakers who shared their very informative presentations this afternoon. And again, reminding everybody watching right now, you may please key in your questions using our Q&A tab, because in just a little while, our speakers will be more than happy to answer all your questions and perhaps address some of your comments that you would like to share as well. All right, so before we get to our panel discussion, which is going to be coming in just a little while, we will give all of you here one more chance to be able to win a special prize in our program. So I hope you guys listened well to Mr. Lim's presentation, because the question that I'm going to be reading out obviously will be related to his presentation. And again, reminding you guys, just type in your answer in the chat box, and the first person to key in the correct answer will get to win a special prize. All right? So once again, please pay attention, because here is our last question for the afternoon. From the 5 service offerings of Spectrum, all you need to do is just type in one of these 5 that interests you. So of the 5, we just want to read out one of the service offerings of Spectrum. All right? So there are 5 key service offerings that Mr. J. Lim mentioned earlier that Spectrum provides. All you need to do is just share what interests you the most. And if that is part of the 5 that I'll be reading out in just a little while, we're going to be choosing you. We can probably choose you to win, so long as you are the first person to type in to the chat box. All right? So again, before we cut our answers off, reminding you guys to type in all the questions that you want to ask our 3 panelists, because we will try our best to answer them a few minutes from now. And it's not every day that we get this opportunity to have a live forum with these 3 esteemed speakers. So again, please feel free to type in your questions using our Q&A tab, and we will try our best to address them in a little while. All right? So as far as the trivia is concerned, we're going to cut off all the answers right now, and it's time to reveal the 5 correct answers that we're going to be choosing from. So here they are: solar for business, solar for home, microgrid and utility scale, operations and maintenance, and on-phase distributorship. All right. So if you typed in any of those 5 service offerings in Spectrum, you're going to get a chance to win a special prize later on. And we're going to be announcing the official set of winners in just a little while. But then for now, we will be moving on to one of the most important parts of today's program. All right. So being that I can already see some of our participants have sent in some questions and comments, we are now ready to call back our esteemed set of speakers. So with that being said, I'd like to welcome back Director Mario Marasigan, Mr. Jobert Jimeno, and Mr. J. Lim. And I also like to invite the head of Meralco's Utility Economics, Mr. Lawrence Hernandez, to join our panel discussion. Sirs, thank you very much for taking the time to join us this afternoon. And I think I can speak on behalf of everybody watching here that we really appreciate your participation to help out with our discussion this afternoon. All right. So with that, we already have some questions here. So I'm going to dive into the first question already. First question I'd like to direct to Director Mario. Okay, Director Mario. To the DOE, good afternoon po, sir. To the DOE, what are the measures being taken to address supply concerns in the Luzon grid? Sir.
Yeah, thank you, Kevin, and thank you very much for the question. Well, first and foremost, the Department of Energy is keenly observing what's happening, not only locally but also abroad. We're trying to determine what would be the possible impact vis-a-vis the different fuels that we have. And we have to identify the various contingency measures that we have to adopt. As I mentioned earlier during my presentation, for the outlook that we are seeing for possible yellow alerts during the summer period, we have already identified capacities that may come in. However, we don't discount the possibilities that there may still be other problems. So what are we looking at? First, prioritization of which power plant should be given the opportunity to maintain on a short-term basis. Now, tinitingnan natin, sino yung pwede talagang payagan at sino yung pwedeng hindi. At the same time, what are the different power plants that can be fast-tracked to supply additional capacities? And in fact, how can we maximize the exchange of electricity between Luzon and Visayas? And aside from that, hopefully, in the next years, we are looking at the transfer of electricity not only between Luzon and Visayas, but including Mindanao. So, palagi tayong active, proactive tayo. And in terms of fuel supply nga pala, as you may remember, there was an issue early this year regarding the Indonesian moratorium on coal supply. We have established collaborative activities directly with Indonesia. So we tap the other government agencies, the Department of Foreign Affairs, the Department of Trade and Industry, to make direct contact to the Ministry of Indonesia to make sure that there is a supply that will be provided to the Philippines in terms of coal. And in fact, we are now organizing and preparing for a possible memorandum of agreement with Indonesia, direct with Indonesia, to ensure the continuous supply of coal, not only for the Philippines, but for the entire Southeast ASEAN community. So this is how we are working at. Also, if we have to source fuel from other countries, ang tinignan namin dito, how can we pass that and how can we ease up yung differences ng treatment among countries? So, we are working with the National Economic Development Authority, the Department of Trade and Industry, as well as the Department of Finance to equalize ano yung mga taxes to allow entry of fuels coming from other countries that are not covered by the current situation that we have. So, very active ang ating government, and the Department of Energy is not working alone. We also thank our stakeholders because without them telling us the concern, it will be very difficult and challenging for the department to work on it. Thank you. And I hope I have responded to the question well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Director Marasigan. Very substantial answer. Thank you so much. Okay, so now for the second question, this is something that Director Mario kind of touched on earlier. Sir Larry, good afternoon po. I'd like to address this question to you. With the rising fuel prices, what is Meralco doing to help bring down or control the rising power rates?
Thank you, Kevin. Good afternoon to everyone. So in terms of rising fuel prices, that mainly impacts the cost of generation because fuel is a significant part of the cost to produce electric energy. Now in the Philippines, as mentioned by Director Mario, a major source of fuel for power generation is coal. And in the case of Meralco, another major fuel used for power generation is malampayan natural gas. So when fuel prices rise, Meralco coordinates with the generators to try to mitigate any surge in fuel prices and the impact on electric prices. So in the past, we've coordinated closely with some suppliers to ask them to defer a collection of a portion of their bills from Meralco and spread out that collection over several months. So if there's a surge in fuel prices, by spreading out the collection of a portion of generation costs, we're able to mitigate a spike in power prices and spread this over the next several months. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Larry. Okay, so now moving on to our next question, Sir Jobert, I would like to address this question to you. We are interested to avail of the services of Meralco. How can we avail?
Thank you very much, Sir Kevin, for that question. So everyone can avail the services of Meralco through the different channels that I will be mentioning. First, you may reach out through our biz partner managers and customer service engineers located in the nearest business centers. So second, you may contact us at our biz hotline 16210. I repeat, 16210, or email us at biz@meralco.com.ph or through our website www.meralco.com.ph/biz. Thank you, Sir Ken.
So Jobber, thank you very much. Very vital information. And I think we're going to be flashing some of the details again that you just mentioned later on the program. So if you didn't catch that from Sir Jobber, don't worry. We're going to give you another chance to take note of all the details you need if you want to contact Meralco and their services. All right. So now, next question. Sir Jerry, about Spectrum. There are many solar companies out there. Why should we avail from Spectrum?
Thank you for that question, Sir Kevin. Our advantage, as I mentioned earlier, our energy expertise, so we guarantee the safety of our design in terms of our technical capabilities since we carry the Meralco brand. And the second, the seamless grid integration. So our offer is worry-free. So end-to-end from design, permitting, our design construction, and up to the permitting part. So we'll take care of it. So our offer which is worry-free for the customer. Next is our proven safety record. So we ensure safety of our installation. Actually po, there are so many cases that we see from our integrators na talagang substandard po yung ginagamit na materials, which is very prone to fire, something like that. So that's why we pioneer yung installation po ng rapid shutdown system as implemented through Philippine Electrical Code of 2017. So we're one of the solar companies who pioneered yung installation po ng rapid shutdown system. And actually we have fourth. The fourth po is what we can guarantee as a Meralco company, yung after sales. So napakadaming solar integrators ngayon na after so many years, after 5 years or so, nagkukulosa sila, so walang mahabol na warranty kapag ka nagkaroon ng material defect. So kami even as a Meralco company, even sa nearest Meralco business center, you can reach us for your concerns and for your after sales needs.
Thank you very much, Sir Jobert. I think this is also very important to mention again, especially since relatively new yung ganitong service, and I'm pretty sure kahit negosyo man yan or for residents, this is a question that would always come up. I suppose that you would need to address, Sir Jobert. So thank you again for sharing that with us. Okay, so we have another sorry, Sir Jay, I should say again. Thank you very much, Sir Jay. Okay, we have another question here, and I hope you wouldn't mind me throwing this to your end again, Sir Larry. Will the brownouts affect power rates?
Yes, that Kevin. So when we say brownouts, I think we're what we actually mean is when supply is either insufficient to meet the demand, or even when supply margins are thin. So when our reserves become less than ideal. So I think that's what the concern is when we say how will that affect prices. So mainly when that happens, when supply is deficient or when supply margins are low, it affects mainly the wholesale and recently spot market. So the Western as a market, it's just like any market, it's affected by supply and demand. So if demand goes up, prices tend to go up, and if supply goes down, prices tend to go down. So in situations where we have brownouts or brownouts are threatening, typically we see that market prices in the spot market also go up. So in the case of Meralco, to try to avoid an adverse impact or mitigate an adverse impact on our customers, we coordinated closely with the Department of Energy, and we thank them for allowing us to first to contract additionally with the Power Sector Assets and Liabilities Management Corporation. So late last year, we signed a 90 megawatt contract with Pisound, and at the start of this year, the DOE also approved that Meralco conduct a bidding for 170 megawatts of peaking capacity. So the bidding for that was concluded, and that contract has been filed with the ERC for approval. So given those two contracts, we hope to minimize the impact of higher resin prices on our customers. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Larry. Really appreciate that. Okay, now reminding everybody again, if you have more questions that you'd like to throw to our panelists here this afternoon, please feel free to type it into the Q&A tab, and we'll try our best to include them in our discussion right now. Okay, so now up next, Sir Jay, I'm going to send over another question to you. How do we monitor the output of our solar installation?
Thank you, Kevin. Our inverters are capable to be connected through the internet, through wireless, or through RS-485 cable. We can monitor the solar output real time through your cell phone, through your mobile phone. So we have cloud already. So it depends on the brands that we're using, inverter brands that we're using. We can monitor that, the solar output real time through your cell phone, just by connecting the inverters through the internet.
Grabe, sobrang convenient. Thank you very much, Sir Jay. Very, future ready yung magiging transactions, especially when it comes to monitoring solar installations. Okay, so for this next question, it's also related to solar panels. I'll read it out first, and then perhaps Sir Jobert, Sir Jay, if you can share your insights about this. My business already has solar panels installed. I was told to apply for net metering. What is it, and what benefits do I get from it?
Thank you, Sir Kevin. I think I will answer first. So the benefits that we can get when we apply for solar, our solar panels, starts with the 3S. It is the safety, stability, and sustainability. So safe because it complies with the safety standards and regulations. Second, the stability because we can avoid the dangerous fluctuation and power interruptions. And thirdly, sustainable because it accurately credits the bill of the excess power exported to the Meralco grid to generate savings. Thank you, Sir Kevin.
Thank you, Sir Jobert. Before we proceed with the next question, Sir Jay, is there anything else that you might like to add to this?
Okay, so net metering is very beneficial, especially for residential. So usually, if wala naman tao sa bahay, so excess power is generated, then it compensates yung consumption on night time. For businesses naman, if wala pong pasok yung office or school during weekends or summer months, nakikredit lang po yung in-export natin na export dun sa bill natin. If wala tayong operation during weekends at summer months. Then additionally, yung risk of not having to enroll to net metering, actually yung meter po ng Meralco is unidirectional. So if hindi po tayo nagpalit ng meter and nag-export po ng power yung system natin, it detects yung in-export as you import. So parang na-charge po siya sa bill in addition. So kaya yung mga ibang customers na nagkabit po ng solar and hindi pala napalitan yung meter with the bidirectional meter, tumataas pa daw pala yung consumption. This is because we had to replace yung meter natin with the bidirectional one. So it can detect both yung import and yung export power. So yun po yung isa sa mga benefit also. Thank you.
All right, thank you as well. Thank you very much, Sir Jobert, Sir Jay. Thank you. And I'd like to throw this out to all our panelists, just in case I sent over a question to one of you guys in particular. If you have any comments or anything that you'd like to add, please feel free to speak up at any point during this discussion, all right? All the questions are for everybody if you have something to share. Okay, so now, next question, and this is a pretty relevant one, and I'm interested to hear about this as well. Sir Larry, will the war in Ukraine affect Meralco's power rates?
Yes, Kevin. So we've already seen that when the Ukraine conflict started, we saw that petroleum prices went up. So world oil prices went up, and it was reflected in the Philippines as higher diesel and gasoline prices. So similarly, cost of fuel that is used for power generation, we also noticed that they also started to go up when the Ukraine conflict started. So this is mainly for the power generation sector. The fuel that they use is coal and malampayang natural gas. For Meralco sources of supply, about 20% of our supply comes from power plants that use coal, but the bigger portion, almost 40%, come from power plants that use malampayang natural gas. So yung malampayang natural gas, while it's a domestic resource, Malampaya field is just off the island of Palawan, the gas is priced in US dollars, and the price is indexed to Dubai crude prices. So when the peso depreciates, or when the Dubai crude prices go up, then the price of Malampaya also goes up. But for the price of Malampaya, they are updated every quarter. So the current price of Malampaya does not yet reflect the impact of the Ukraine conflict. We see that this will be reflected in the cost of generation starting April, in the next repricing or updating of the price of Malampaya. And this will be reflected in the bills of customers starting May. So, given the recent surge in oil prices, this will affect Malampaya in April, and then our power bills to customers in May. So, thank you.
Thank you very much, Sir Larry. All right, so something I suppose to anticipate and to monitor in the coming months. Okay, so now I think this next question is for you again, Sir Jay. If we avail solar panels from Spectrum and choose not to sign up to net metering, what are the risks to doing this?
Okay, thank you, Kevin. I think I also answered this earlier. So the risk is yung export power. Again, if we fail to apply to the net metering to Meralco, and we did not replace full meter, so by default yung meter natin is unidirectional ones. So if excess power will be going to out of that meter, the meter will treat it as import also. So instead of reducing your bill, it will be added to your bill. So it's very important to apply net metering so that Meralco can replace it with bidirectional ones, by the bidirectional meters. Also, it ensures also the safety of the grid. So imagine multiple residential accounts exporting power without Meralco knowing also. We have actually requirements also for Meralco, the Sister Energize and anti-islanding protection during the in cases of power outage. These items also needs to be secured if ever we apply yung net metering to guarantee yung safety naman ng mga linements when gumagawa po sila sa linya. So dapat po walang nag-export na power talaga from the solar during power outages. So thank you.
Thank you, Sir Jay, for answering that question and for reiterating what you shared earlier during our discussion. Okay, Director Marsigan, we'd like to hear from you again, sir. This next question is for you. Is there a new power plant rising in the future?
Yes, there is, and it is. It is not only is. There are power plants that will be coming up very soon. Yeah, for one, within the year, we are expecting at least 2 major power plants. These are located within the Region 3 area, near Bataan and Zambales. No? But in the future, we actually have a total of about 9,000 megawatts of committed project. What does this mean? These are projects that have already financial closures. So that means in the making may mga project. And part of this, actually, if I may express my gratitude again to Meralco, is brought about by the competitive selection process of Meralco. Without Meralco coming up with this competitive selection process, no new projects will come up. But because of this, we have at least 1,800 megawatts coming up by 2023-2024. So that's part of the 9,000. And aside from that, we have battery energy storage systems that are also on committed stage, about 2,000 of them. And adding up, we have more than 35,000 megawatts capacity of indicative projects. That means proponents are still in securing their permits, making up their feasibility studies, but have already signified to the DOE that they are coming up with these projects. This also includes additional 1,000 megawatts of battery energy storage systems. So there will be projects to address much of our needs. What we are trying to push is for the distribution utility to promptly conduct their competitive selection process. That will give kasi yung ating mga investors parang security in coming up with their projects. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Director Marasigan, for sharing that wonderful news. Palakpakan din po ulit natin Meralco and DOE for the wonderful projects coming up. Okay, now, moving on to our next question. Medyo interesting din ito. I'm looking forward to hearing what Sir Jobert, I'm going to throw this question to you, what Sir Jobert has to say. Sir Jobert, totoo ba daw, or totoo ba na mas makakasave ng energy kapag ikaw lang ang mag-isa, naka-steady lang ang electric fan na gamit?
That's a very good question, Sir Kevin. Well, based on the testing conducted through our Meralco Power Lab, it is very negligible. So the difference between operating a fan, which is in steady mode, and in rotating mode. So very negligible na ito ang savings or difference po. Salamat po.
Okay, thank you, Sir Jobert. So by saying na very negligible, very minimal lang yung magiging difference ito, almost or virtually similar then in that case, no? Okay. All right, so now moving on again, Sir Jobert, I have another question for you since medyo nagka-momentum na po kayo. How long does it take for a net metering application to be processed? And are there any fees?
All right. For Meralco time, considering all the interconnection requirements were compliant by the customer, we have 20 days. So again, the processing time also depends on the compliance of our customer. They have their fair shares in expediting their net metering application. So for the fees, we are advising our customer to prepare a check costing or amounting to 1,500 pesos, but let me be just clear that it is payment to the Energy Regulatory Commission and not for Meralco. Thank you, Sir Kevin.
Thank you very much, Sir Jobert, once again. Okay, so before I read out our succeeding questions, I'm sure we have more time to address some more questions here. But again, for those that have not yet sent in any questions, or for those that might have additional questions that you'd like to throw our way from hearing everything that our speakers have shared, please do feel free to type in your questions using our Q&A tab just at the bottom part of your Zoom windows. All right, so once again, Sir Jobber, thank you for that. And Sir Jay, hopping on to you, speaking of fees, this next question asks, are there package prices for solar installation, and where can I secure these packages, if ever?
Okay, thank you for that question, Kevin. We usually install for residential customers 2 kilowatt, 3 kilowatt, and 5 kilowatt installation. For a 2 kilowatt installation, we usually, our price starts at 200,000. Our 3 kilowatt installation, our price starts at 250K. And our 5 kilowatt installation starts at 350,000. For more information, or you can visit our website for more detailed packages on our system. But usually for businesses, the solution is tailor fit. So we have to visit the site and we have to design specifically for each site. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Sir Jay. If you want more details regarding the packages, I'm sure Sir Jay would be happy to answer them, no, after this discussion even. Okay, so I'd like to thank everybody in advance who sent their questions in, but I'm afraid we have room for only one more question to be read out during this part of our program. And we saved the best for last again for you, Director Mario. This question is for you. RCOA rates are still low even if increased recently. Why are RES rates much lower than regular rates?
Thank you very much for that question. No? Well, what should we expect? It's people empowerment. Retail competition and open access is actually the consumer empowerment. Kaya nga tayo nag-deviate from our regular distribution services of the distribution utilities is to get a better service in terms of rates. So meron tayong choice that empowers us, the consumer. If I am qualified, then I do not expect na mas mahal yung kuryente ko dahil sineservisan ako ng espesyalista pa sa pagdating sa pagsusupply ng electricity. It should always be our empowerment, the consumers, that should bring the price down or the rates down when it comes to retail competition and open access. So let's congratulate our retail electricity suppliers for providing us the rates that we expect from them. Thank you.
And thank you as well, Director Mario Marasigan. Now, unfortunately, this is all the time that we have for this panel discussion that we prepared for you this afternoon. So I'd like to thank all of our panelists. Once again, palakpakan po natin lahat ng mga esteemed speakers natin for this afternoon. But before we let you guys go, perhaps you can share some parting words to everybody watching us right now. Director Mario Marasigan, perhaps we can start with you. Sir, any parting words to the people watching right now?
Thank you very much. All our stakeholders, including the consumers, can take part pagdating sa ating energy outlook or yung power outlook natin. And the way we do it is, please be proactive when it comes to energy efficiency and conservation. Because that's the only way that we could help manage our electricity supply and services. So thank you very much. And my special acknowledgements, of course, for this kind of activity to Meralco. More power to us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Director Mario Marasigan, once again, everybody. Thank you, sir. Okay, up next, Mr. Robert Jimeno, sir.
Thank you, Sir Kevin. So, I just want you to be reminded that energy efficiency is very important, because when we are efficient operationally, we can expand our business. So, it is one of the takeaways that I presented earlier, that energy can be a way of life. Thank you, Sir Kevin.
Thank you, Sir Jobert. All right, a round of applause, Sir Jobert Jimeno, once again. Okay, up next, Mr. J. Lim. Sir?
Okay, Hello everyone. Thank you for this opportunity that we were able to present our products and services. Spectrum will be here as a reliable partner for your sustainable energy needs and for your solar requirements. Will be the most trusted company.
All right, wonderful. Thank you very much, Mr. J. Lim, once again, everybody. Maraming salamat po. And last but definitely not the least, Mr. Larry Fernandez. Sir Larry, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Kevin. And thank you also to all the customers who attended this webinar. From the questions that we received, we saw that there is valid concern on the effect of power rates on recent developments. But we'd like to assure you, our customers, that Meralco continues to be mindful of our responsibility to provide least cost supply and best service to our customers and to ensure that there's enough capacity for our customers in the short and long run. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Larry Fernandez, once again. And for the last time, everybody, another virtual round of applause for these esteemed set of people. Maraming salamat po sa pagbigay ng oras sa atin lahat and for sharing your expertise to everybody watching right now. All right. So I hope that learnings from today's Power Up Live webinar will help you operate efficiently and manage your consumptions. And again, for those questions or for those whose questions were not addressed during our Q&A session, do not worry. We will be reaching out to you after the program to address the questions that you sent over. But alternatively, you may also directly reach out to us through our concerns form via the link posted in the chat box. All right. And also, you may scan the QR code that we will now be flashing on the screen. You may also take a photo of this QR code para ma-reserve nyo sa camera if you want to refer to the QR code later on, even after the program. Right? And in case you have other power-related inquiries, you may also reach out to our biz partner managers or through the channels that we will now be flashing on your screens. There you go. Again, very important information. Please do feel free to reach out to us for any concerns or comments or anything else that we can help you guys out with. All right. So now that we've reached the tail end of today's program at this point, I'm sure you're wondering who among you will take home the special prizes reserved for our trivia game winners. So before I announce it, if you feel na mananalo kayo, it's time to cross your fingers because right now, not to make you guys wait any longer, here are the winners for this afternoon's trivia games. So, congratulations to Bethelyn Lianza, Emmanuel Mendoza, and Albert Aliado. Thank you very much, and congratulations once again to all the winners. Let's give them a hand, everybody. Please wait for our message, for the message and personal call from our Meralco representative, who will advise you on how to claim your prize. All right, so we value your inputs and insights and would welcome receiving your feedback regarding your experience with Meralco Power Up Live. So we would highly appreciate it if you can answer our short survey in just a few steps. So once again, please do scan the QR code that you now see on your screen. There you go. And you can also just choose to click on the link that was sent into your chat box. All right, there you go. It's truly been an insightful and enlightening afternoon, and we hope that you're able to pick up relevant information that will give your business the power this summer. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for joining us this afternoon, and we really do hope to see you again in our upcoming Power Up Live webinar. So once again, I've been your host, Kevin La Peña. Maraming salamat po sa inyo, and a pleasant day to everybody. Have a good day, everybody. Take care.